Christian Friends of Israeli Communities. First of all, tell us about your organization.
Well, it was more than 25 years ago when I met a Christian family who was very interested in what we were doing in Judea and Samaria. I've been living here in Judea and Samaria for decades, and I was involved in speaking to groups, mostly Jewish groups, the press, and this fellow said, you know, we need an organization that's going to reach out to Christians and connect Christians to Judea and Samaria. And that's how it started. It was someone else's idea, but I took it and I ran with it. And it's just been an amazing partnership where Christians all over the world who love Israel have the ability not just to stand with Israel, but to stand specifically with the Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria.
Sandra, it's been more than a month now after the massacre on October 7th. How can Christians support, pray for, and encourage Israel and the Jewish people right now?
Well, prayer is a very good thing. IDF forces are in Gaza as we speak, and that includes my relatives, my nephews, and every one of my neighbors and friends have children either inside Gaza, just outside Gaza, or mobilized. And so prayer is important so that our forces will succeed in completely obliterating Hamas and all terrorist elements in Gaza and bringing those hostages, those 240 men, women, and children home safely and bringing our children home safely.
Yeah.
But on a practical level, we are raising funds, and we are raising funds for a host of needs that all over Israel.
How would you compare what's happening after October 7th in terms of anti-Semitism and how Jewish people are feeling, not only in Judea and Samaria in Israel, but around the world?
I personally graduated many years ago from Columbia University in the United States, and I have been appalled at the anti-Semitism that I am seeing coming out of that university and universities all over the United States. And the pro-Hamas rallies that we're seeing on campuses in the United States. In London, the fact that Jews are afraid to express themselves, to walk around with a Star of David or a kippah on, is horrific, and I don't understand it. I know anti-Semitism, I know it's there, and we're used to anti-Semitism coming out from the Holocaust or from what used to be Eastern Europe or Russia and those sorts of places. We remember our history, but I am shocked when I see people who have grown up on a liberal democratic tradition, on the idea of respecting other people, and then these same people are in some way condoning this awful massacre that Hamas perpetrated against Israel. I don't get it.
Yeah. I think a mutual friend of ours, Bishop Robert Stearns, recommended, actually just a few days after October 7th, this is a good time to make a call to your Jewish friends or your local synagogue. Is that a good thing that would encourage the Jewish people right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because I'm sure many Jews are wondering now, who can they trust? You know, that neighbor down the street that they thought was their friend, if they're seeing them now in one of these protests, who can they trust? So getting a phone call like that so that they can know who their real friends are, I think it's excellent.
Yeah, and how would you say going forward, is this a time, you know, tragically during the Holocaust, many Christians were silent, many churches were silent. Do you see this time as an opportunity for the church to stand with the Jewish people?
Absolutely. And if this isn't a time, I don't know when is. You know, too many churches have refrained from expressing opinions about Israel, expressing solidarity, especially when it comes to the issue that I am most closely aligned with, the communities in Judea and Samaria. So many churches said, oh, that's too political. We don't want to get involved, you know, when really it's a biblical issue. Jews belong here. And I think when you see what happened on October 7th and everything that has happened since, this is a litmus test right now. Because if a church at this point cannot come out and say, we stand with Israel and we stand against terrorism, ISIS like Hamas, if they cannot stand up and say that, then I think we as Jews have to question whether they aren't really anti-Semites. But as Christians, you have to wonder, are they really Christians?
You're in the biblical lands of Judea and Samaria. How would you frame this issue? In other words, some people would say, and I know you've been addressing this issue for decades yourself, that you're usurping land, and it's really meant for a future Palestinian state.
Well, first of all, the usurping land, anyone who reads the Bible will know this is the land that God promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is the same land that Joshua then came in to conquer. The Bible is full of the right of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. And where we are, where I am now, I'm sitting here in my garden in the middle of Samaria, on the mountains of Israel. Go look at Ezekiel 36. This is biblical Israel. It's the heart of biblical Israel. So we certainly aren't usurping anybody else's land. I can understand, however, the desire to solve a problem so that the Arabs who live amongst us feel comfortable, feel that they have a place amongst us. And our question has always been, do they want to live with us in peace? We came here to Judea and Samaria not to throw any Arabs out of their home, but to find a way to live in peace. And in the aftermath of this recent event in Gaza, when Hamas attacking southern Israel, and we're talking about an area that has always been recognized as part of the state of Israel. Nobody can say that they're settlers or they have usurped somebody else's land. And here we see that it's not just the thousands who came in on October 7th, but an entire Palestinian society who is backing them, who's endorsing them. The fact that the Palestinian Authority, who today controls Judea and Samaria, the parts of Judea and Samaria that are where the Arabs live, they have not yet condemned this horrific atrocity. So I have to ask myself, who exactly is supposed to run this Palestinian state? Even if we were to say, let's set something up, an autonomy or a Palestinian state, which I am not in favor of, but even if we were to follow that argument, who are we handing the reins over to? People who tomorrow are going to come into our homes and murder us in our beds and decapitate babies? Are these the people that are supposed to be running a normal, peaceful society?
Well, Sandra Barris, that's a sobering note to end on, but a very, very valid one, so people can be praying for your protection as well. Thanks for joining us on CBN News, Sandra.
Thank you, Chris.
If you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you'll have superpowers for the rest of your life. So what are you waiting for? Time to fly. You want to know a little secret? If you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you'll have superpowers for the rest of your life. So what are you waiting for? Time to fly.